Welcome to Creative Tien channel. Today we are going to knit a simple vest on the LK150 knitting machine. And I'm going to use this pattern. It's a tuck stitch. It's very easy to manipulate on the LK150. This is the front side of the tuck. And this is the back side. The back side looks more textured, so I'm going to use the back side as the front. And I will keep this project simple, so I will do a cut and sew neckline. Today we will need the front and back pieces. It will be just big rectangles. In the next video, we'll do the cut and sew neckline and the ribbon for the neck and the armholes. The yarn I'm using is a fingering weight. And here's my swatch sample. 1 square inch is about 5.75 stitches and 9 rows. I have it on tension 2.5 for this tuck stitch. And here is the basic design. It's very simple. It's 2 big rectangles. And I'm going to knit from bottom up. So I will start with the ribbon. You can do mark ribbon or do the ribbon later separately. I will try the hand manipulated ribbon so I don't have to worry about this part later. And you can see the dashed line on the top is the area I will cut out later after sewing. So this is a very straightforward design. And I have the front side a little bit wider because we have more curve in the front. And because I've tried to keep the 1x1 ribbon symmetrical, so I use odd number of stitches. So for the front, I have 121 stitches, and the back side I start with 109 stitches. I'm trying to make a medium size vest, maybe US size 6, and we'll see how it goes. So I will start by casting on 121 stitches for the front, and then knit 15 rows and hand manipulate it back into 1x1 ribbon. And for the rest of the rectangle, it's about 162 rows according to my calculation, and that will be in the tuck stitch pattern. And we'll do the same for the back. So I pull out the needle from 60 left to 61 on the right. I start by knitting a few rows of waste yarn, and I'm going to use a Russel cord and then start knitting. Here's my Russel cord. I will just hold it with my hand and knit across. After the Russel cord, I will start doing a simple E-rub cast on, or you can use any type of cast on. And I will knit about 15 rows and start to manipulate the stitches into ribbon. I decide to do every third needle as a purl stitch instead of 1x1 ribbon. It will save some time to hand manipulate. So I already pick out the stitches I want to drop and latch back up. This is the first one, all the way to D and then all the way back. Drop the stitches. I drop it all the way until the Russel cord. The stitch below will be open, but it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to latch up. And the first stitch, I like to twist it so it's not too loose. And just latch back up one by one. And then we just hand it back to the needle. Now we just have to keep going for all the stitches we pick out. Now I finish all the ribbing. If it's too much work, you don't have to do that. You can do a mark ribbing or just knit double length and fold it over. The next part I'm going to knit tuck, and this is my simple pattern, and I have the tuck needle every fourth needle, so there will be 3 plain knitting in between. And then I will knit 3 rows of plain and 3 rows of tuck that's in between of the previous tuck needles. And then 3 rows of plain knitting, 3 rows of the tuck stitches. For the plain knitting, the Russel lever is on 2. That's what we have right now. Russel lever on 2, the side lever on the triangle. And for the tuck stitch, the side lever still in the triangle, but the Russel lever changed to 1. So that's the only change for the tuck stitch. You switch to 1, pick out the needles, knit 3 rows, and then switch back to 2, knit 3 rows, plain knitting, and then you switch back to 1 and pick out the needles and knit 3 rows, and switch back to 2 for plain knitting. And we just keep repeating that until the length you like. I keep my tension 2.5, and then I will start by knitting 3 plain rows. So that's Russel lever 2, and we'll just knit 3 rows. I change my row counter back to 000. And make sure I place the weight, and then we'll knit 3 rows. After 3 plain rows, we start to pull out needles. I start with the 3rd needle on the right, and I have every 4th needle out. And remember to set the Russel lever to 1 on both sides for tuck. And now we'll knit 3 rows. Now we can look close at the tuck stitch. All the yarns sit on top of the tuck needle. In the next row, we are going to knit by changing the Russel lever to 2. So all the stitches in D position will be knit back to B. Change it to number 2 on both sides, and we knit 3 rows. You can see the 3 rows of plain knitting. And next we want to do the tuck stitch again. But this time we'll switch the location. So the last time I start with the 3rd needle on the right, like that. I want this one. This time we'll start with the 1st needle on the right. Let's see. We'll pick out the needle first. Even the left side, it's the 1st needle out, so it's symmetrical. We have it all the way to the D. And make sure the Russel lever goes to 1 for tuck, and then 3 rows. And we just keep repeating that. In the next 3 rows, you will be plain knitting, and then we go back to selecting needles starting from the 3rd needle, and we change it to tuck, so the Russel lever will change to number 1 again. Now we'll continue the 3 plain knitting. We pick out the tuck stitch starting from the 3rd needle on the right. Change the Russel lever, knit 3 rows. Now we are going to do 3 rows of plain, change it back to 2, 3 rows. You can see the pattern start to come out. This is the side I want as a front, so I'm actually facing the front side. But it's up to you which side you want to use as a front. So we just continue knitting that way for the tuck, and for my calculation, it's about 162 rows. And that's the front part. I will do the same with the back side panel, except it's a little bit smaller. I have less stitch to start with. And after you knit these 2 panels, we will do the cut and sew in the next video. So thank you for watching and see you next time.